Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm really excited. This is Nate Gryak from Sticky Albums, and I have Dana and Spencer Rogers of Edenhurst Studio here joining us from Chicago, Illinois. The way I found their work is we've started digging into the Sticky Albums archives of data, and one of their albums was the most viewed album last month. It's this really awesome Mad Men inspired engagement shoot, right, guys?
Yep.
Awesome. So we're gonna tell a whole story of how you guys came up with the concept and executed that shoot. We're gonna talk about some great marketing techniques these guys use to grow their business, and we're gonna learn a little bit more about how they kind of came into portrait photography from a number of different backgrounds. So welcome to the show, guys. How are you guys doing?
Hey, everybody. Thanks,
Awesome.
Nate. Good to see you, man.
Yeah. So let's start with how you guys decided to transition from other arts, I guess, into portrait work yourselves.
I graduated from Art Center College of Design in Pasadena.
Yep.
And as soon as I graduated, I landed a campaign that had Billy Bob Thornton and Henry Rollins in it. And then that transferred over to McCann Erickson job. They did a lot of baby stuff, Infamil, Pepper, stuff like that.
Yep.
And the art director that was working on that asked me she just got engaged, and so she asked me to shoot her wedding. And at Art Center, they don't really train you to be a wedding photographer or even a portrait photographer necessarily. It's more commercial based. So I was working with my Mias and Hasselblads and 4x5s, and so at that time I decided to do it for her and rented all the equipment that was needed for wedding photography, and my husband was my second shooter and shot it, and then Grace Ramon ran a 4-page spread on it. So our first wedding, we had Grace Ramon.
Yeah, and I was playing in let's call it not money making bands at the time.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden it was like, money can be made here, man. And you don't have, it's not a 9-to-5 money maker. You
Right.
Go to people's parties and take pictures. And I was like, I will carry your bag and I'll do what I can, but I'm still here.
Yeah. That's so cool. I love hearing there's so many different paths. So Dana, let's back up a second. So I'm not going to ask the cliche questions of like, oh my God, what was it like to photograph these superstars? But I want to know, let's jump to what was annoying? Was it just really inconsistent to be doing that kind of you have a huge job? Is it really inconsistent to get the job and then working with some of them? What were some of the parts that weren't so awesome and exciting?
Well, I think you touched on it. The inconsistency in the flow. That you can't plan around other people giving you your jobs all the time.
Right.
I mean, even with the best rep and even with all the marketing and stuff you do with the industry stuff, you have to be a part of this and that.
Right.
I think we're more people we have to go get the jobs.
Yeah,
so that's
right.
You
can't just sit around and wait for work all day.
You gotta be shooting. So if we're not shooting with commercial, it's different because I have a rep, which I still do, and she's awesome.
She's the best, Patrice Bocos.
Awesome.
But she's more in charge of bringing the work in, although you still have to do stuff. You're still marketing, whether it's workbook or, however you're going about it.
Yep.
Doing promos for her, that type of stuff. But the other stuff kind of came organically just because we did it, and, we don't push it. Like weddings, we're not really pushing them. We're not out. People wouldn't categorize us as doing that, but there are certain ones that come through that are full of details and going to Greece or doing stuff like that where one of our brides, we're just fortunate to have brides who have nice budgets, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
So she wanted to do something very unique.
I think what's so great about having a commercial focus like you guys is you get to focus on your art, and then in the downtime because you're known for your commercial work, you're known as artists. You also are working on a piece you guys want to have in the Fine Art Gallery in Chicago. I think all of those things just help your brand, right? Where when people come to you for portrait work, they know what they're getting into.
Right.
Right.
This is not. They're not just going to get a $75 CD in the mail.
No.
I love that reaction. Sorry.
We're very anti.
Oh, we're just freezing up just a little bit. Okay, I still see you now.
It's interesting you bring that point up, though, because
Yeah.
some people, we found that some people come to us not knowing, if they come to us not knowing who we are,
Yeah.
and they've talked to other photographers along their shopping to get to, they're Googling, whatever they come across, and their budget is $300 for a portrait. We're like, okay,
Sorry. Yep.
yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, and all these other photographers are giving away digital images on the CDs, and they're full size, and you can print them. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Sorry. Don't tell your friends.
I think if you're just brand new to the business, it's hard to say no to work, but it's a totally different mindset. So, and I've harped on that whole distinction on other podcasts. So let's skip over that. I want to go back to so what your model reminds me of. This might be a kind of cliche, but if you guys have Uber in Chicago, right? It's that new way you can like call cabs and limos and stuff. And I know there's all kinds of controversy around it, but I was talking to, they just launched Uber X here, where just anybody can drive a cab, which is, they're pick you up. It's bizarre. But for the limo drivers, they used to only be able to do scheduled pickups, and it's a much higher pay. But if they do their one pickup that's scheduled today, they really would have no work to do. And what Uber's allowed them to do is fill in these gaps with, we can do other work. I can just pick you up, and I'm not going to get paid as much as the commercial does, but I'm still going to be working and shooting. And it sounds like, one, you guys focus on commercial, but then in the gaps when they're not banging your doors down, you guys can also get some really nice work done doing portraits and weddings.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the Mad Men, the Mad Men shoot that we did.
Let's tell that story. So let's pull all that apart. So who thought of it? How, like, did the couple, were they like all excited? What was their role in helping think of it?
They're real go-getter couple. He's in a master's program at Stanford. He's gonna be a venture capitalist tech guy. He's like, the moon is within their grasp. So they're like, let's just do something. They're they're a little more conservative types. They're not actor people or whatever. But they're like, we want to just really go for it. We're gonna get married in Vail, and it's gonna be wonderful, and everything's gonna be, So let's do something that while we're young and hot, right? Like, let's do something great. And it was all Dana working with the bride to come up with this deal. And she's like, we're doing this. It's her favorite show. They like to cuddle up and watch this show. And it's like, all right, well, let's do it, man. And so off to the races we went. And next thing you know, I'm getting like, go buy this, go buy that. Go to Hotel Lincoln and talk to them. This place is great.
So that was one of my questions. So Hotel Lincoln, like that's all legit. That's an actual place you can go and it's in Chicago.
Yeah, we made a deal with them. We made a deal. They saw the commercial site, and we actually had to show them the models, which aren't models, were real people. But we made a deal with them if we used the hotel for free, that they could use images for their promotional use. So they did, and they loved them.
That's awesome.
And they were just great. I gotta say, man, Hotel Lincoln, 2 thumbs up. They were like, what can we do to help you? How can you?
Right. So let me pull that apart. There's so much good, because I talk about partnerships with other vendors locally, and so let's back up, because the initial part is establishing the credibility. So there's a couple big things that might not have seemed that big, but were big. So one, you had a really good website that showcased your work, and that you do commercial work and you do really great work. So that's number one. Them just quickly checking you out that way, I'm sure, played a big part. But what else do you think helped in you winning them over at first, getting them to say yes?
I never met them. I called them on the phone. They looked at the website.
Who was the person that had to make that call?
The guy that owns the hotel.
Okay.
Making the call.
Got it.
And then we sent them the images, and they said they want them all. So I said, okay, we fixed them up, and we sent them out, and they loved it. So
that's so awesome.
And a lot of it is, being in the commercial world. I brought our commercial makeup artist in Cindy Shute, who did like F and Vodka and those type of ads. So it was a period. She's used a period piece hair and makeup. So we had that in our back pocket.
Yeah, you sent them a link to her, right? This is who's going to do the makeup.
Yeah, I sent a link to her site so they saw her.
Okay, got it. Yep.
Yeah, you know, so that got
that added credibility. Like
we're
putting together.
To you guys, this is like no brainer. This is old hat, but like all these little details of showing that you have your shit together made for this guy to be like, yeah, I want to do this.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah. I mean, we had all this, and then I sent him links to, you know, we have obviously I work with many stylists, and you know, so that kind of comes into play too. So if the budget is right, then we can put these things into play. Like the one I was getting that I was going to touch on is can I talk about the underwater one?
Yeah.
Okay. Is we had a bride who wanted to do something unique as well.
Yep.
And she was getting married in Greece, and so we decided that we were going to shoot her underwater for her engagement, and then like almost overlay it into the hotel so she could use that as her guest packs. She broke the wedding off at 10:30 the night before the shoot. So I just called the agencies that I work with, my modeling agencies, and they sent me models by 7 o'clock the next morning who are good underwater, and it turned out awesome. You know, so it was something that we just did.
So cool.
We kept it going because we had the makeup and we had
the pool was already paid for,
right.
Everything was already set.
You know.
So we're like, well, let's not waste this opportunity. We already had all the underwater housing and lights from, you know, it had to be sent here from LA because it's not here.
Right.
And so I was like, well, let's not waste this opportunity. We ended up having a great day. I'll send you some of these images.
Dude, I'm excited. That's what an I just hear that theme from other entrepreneurs so often, where you just take like that. You could have just said, "Oh, screw me, screw the world. This is a drag. I just lost a bunch of money." But instead, it's turning into this awesome project.
Oh.
Yeah, it was fun. It was good.
Yeah.
It worked out great. Yeah.
That's awesome. You just got to roll with the punches because there's always going to be them, and it doesn't matter what kind of business you're in. That's so awesome. So back to the Mad Men one. So did you? Let's see. How did you deliver it to your clients? And I think it just when you guys look at it below in the links, it just I think it's one of those great images or albums that just sells themselves. People want to share this because it's that cool. So when you delivered it to the client?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah, it's okay. When we deliver to the client, we actually go to them and we bring our iPad out, or if they come in the studio, we'll have our computer. And they see a slideshow of it to music, and they see the vision of how we meant it to be. Yeah. And then we sit down and we make a collection for them. We don't give them the images. So
well, they gasp and they cry and they go, "Oh my god, and they do this. Oh my god!"
Yeah. She was nervous because she wasn't a model, and when Cindy was done with her makeup and hair, her first initial was like, "It's too much. It's too much." I'm like, "It's not too much. Like you're not getting it because you haven't done this before. But trust me, you're gonna love it." And first thing she said, she goes, "You were so right. This is just I went with it, and it was great." But it's something that she will never see herself be again. This is something so unique. So she wanted it on her wall. So it was, it wasn't, the pictures sell themselves. I'm not a big pusher. I'm not a big, I just want them, whatever they love. We design it in room layouts for them, and they decide what they want. And whatever images they buy, and then they bought prints for the parents and siblings, stuff like that.
Yep.
And whatever image they bought, we put onto the StickyAlbum. So it entices them to buy more. We're really good at, he edits. So we do edit it down so there's not a lot of decision making to be had.
That's awesome.
Kind of have a story. We don't give them a ton of choices.
I want to pick up on that point. You were just talking about a really important part of you guys spent, I'm sure, a good part of a day on this shoot. There's and I think it's all of the details that make into the client feeling comfortable and confident to step out of their comfort zone. I mean, they look like models, right? When I first looked at this, I was like, is this somebody doing is this commercial work or is this actually a couple? Because they look that good, and they have to feel comfortable in order to be able to pull that off, right? Mm-hmm. Like a professional model can look happy and comfortable and in love on a below freezing mountain, but like your bride isn't gonna, they're not gonna fly with that, right? Unless
you're not Kate Upton in Antarctica.
Right, exactly.
And if anything, it makes me a better commercial shooter because you are moving people that aren't used to being models. So a big part of the shoot is chilling them out, relaxing them, playing with them back and forth so they just ease up.
Yeah.
And with us having two shooters sometimes helps because she can Dana will say like, Spencer, go where I am, and she'll walk in there and move, actually point her chin the right way and say, all right, and maybe give her like a, you're good, you're good, you know, and she goes, oh, and it gets out of her little, and then, you know,
And it's there,
and so then I just snap and then we're good. And then, you know, kind of do that together.
Oh, that's awesome.
That does help.
Perfect. Okay, so then comes the part, you've worked so hard on this great shoot, and then you're culling the very, very best. Talk about how you've learned to share with your clients your very, very best images.
Well, that's again, she has a very hard time with the because if she comes into my office and I'm editing, she goes, "Oh, that one's great," and I'm like, "You have to leave. You have to leave the office. You can't see them all.
I'm like,
she can't see them all. I only give her the ones that I give her.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I think that's so great. I found that in other relationships, like co-working relationships like this, it's easier to, if you're good at it, to talk about like, this is what I'm good at and this is what you're good at, and we're going to delegate responsibilities this way. I think that if you're working, for a lot of people, it's them and themselves. That's all they have. It's a little bit harder to do that with yourself. To be like, I'm good at this, but I know I'm not good at this, so I've got to really be conscious of that or whatever.
Right.
But it's so
we figured
invaluable.
it out. Like she's better at choosing colors and designing and and concepting, and I'm more mechanical, nuts and bolts. I'm only giving you 60 or 50 for this, and then when you're done with doing yours, I will take them back to 38 or whatever it is, and then that's a chewable chunk for the clients. Is really what they're paying us for is to make those decisions for them.
Totally.
Enough for them to like, oh, maybe I don't like my look here as much as this one, and there's a little wiggle, but not too much. Usually we just
it's so true, man. I made that same mistake when I was just starting out. I was so stoked to be able to like edit like all these different styles. I was like, here's this one image in 3 different styles. It's like, oh my God. I look back at the stuff I used to do. It's like, what was I thinking? It's not there. They don't care. They're gonna love it all, but there's only so much that they can love, and if you overwhelm them with choice, there's studies that show the more choice we have, the less happy we are with our purchasing decision. We want somebody we trust to tell us this is what we recommend, and that's what you guys are doing, and it's obviously working. So, kick ass. Let's move to the next thing, which I think is awesome, and I think this is good advice for anybody who's been established as a studio and has a marketing budget to invest. But I also want you to try and answer the question for people who are just starting out. And what's a way they can start doing a print run of an actual printed card as a marketing piece? Do you recommend doing it like a small one first, or like can they do it on a budget of a couple grand or $5,000? So you guys, before I'm putting the cart before the horse. So first, tell me about this word of mouth piece you guys have created for actually print marketing your business. And we'll include a PDF of it in the blog post below, guys, so you can see what we're talking about.
Okay.
Well, it happened because we have a very good friend in marketing that works for Google, and she was telling us about.
Those are good friends to have, by the way. Marketing friends at Google, I love it.
And so she was saying that she got this piece in the mail, and it was from a furniture company, and it was, they printed it on a paper that almost felt like leather.
Right.
And when you had it in your hand, you didn't, even if you didn't want furniture, you kind of kept the piece because it was so.
It was rich,
It was rich. It just had a great feel to it. And it was, she's like, I got it and I kept it. I don't know why I kept it. I didn't want furniture. Well, so she's like, I think you should do this with your stuff, more like a high-end printed piece that you're really concentrating on the paper it's printed on. You do a 4-color separation, not a digital print, not a digital press. And so We did. So we really focused a lot on showing the piece. Not only shows some of our best images, but it also shows kind of how we went about laying them out into people's spaces, so they could see, like, here's a really good image from the shoot, and this is how what we did for their wall space. So it's a picture of the actual piece, you know, that we put into their home.
That is so smart. I haven't seen this yet, but I love that. I tell people, I'm going to go off on a tangent here because I love that point where we have to showcase on our blog and our marketing pieces what we're selling. And people get so bent out of shape when all people do is, like, we're going to talk about this digital issue too, but it doesn't surprise me. You guys have this figured out too. Is people come in and all they want is a digital file. Well, that's all we're ever showing them on our blog is our digital work. Why not showcase all the kick-ass products, which sounds like you guys are doing? That is so smart. Because then people see, they know when they hire you, that's what you're helping them create.
Right.
Genius.
Right.
I love it.
And it's a story. You know, I think being from the commercial background, art directors are hiring you to tell their story that's in their head. So you're working in collaboration with art directors to show the story of what they want the product to represent.
Yep.
So when you're with a client, it really makes them, there's no different. The product is their children.
Yeah.
And you're allowing that story that they think, that they see their kids, but just upping it once. And so you're making, the collection will tell the story of not only the day, but kind of that time in that kid's life that is now forever
archived,
captured on their wall, you know, the frozen in time for them. And so you do feel like, going into the digital image thing, you are doing a disservice by putting on disc and they'll shove it in the drawer because they really won't do anything with it. And this is something that they will always have. It is a treasure. It is a gift, really, you're giving them to have something that they couldn't do on their own. They really couldn't. Even if you gave them the images, they're still not going to lay it out the way that I think it should be laid out.
Well, we've been doing this for a long time, and we've, seen what works and doesn't work, and we're always trying to, we know what products are now and what's happening, and so what are they hiring us for? It's not just to go pop out and give them
smile
here.
Yeah, right, exactly. My wife and I just moved into a new house, and the walls are bare because it takes so much energy to think about, like, how I've done a lot of photography, but I don't have a lot of experience hanging stuff on walls, and I'm learning more and more how much of a service. And when I have somebody come in and help me with that, it's like, oh my God. Yeah, like my wife had a friend come in and help us with window coverings, like window treatments. What the heck? Like, I had no frame of reference. Like, I didn't even understand what that meant when we're having somebody come help us with window treatments.
Right.
And then,
like, the last thing I hung on my wall was a blacklight poster in college, man.
Exactly.
Like, what am I doing here?
Exactly. And then she comes in and shows us what she can do and just does it. Wow. That's what our customers want us to do. They want us to handle it for us and show us what should be done. So, okay, let's keep going with that digital thing. So when people come to you guys, and in the past when they would ask for a digital file, or if you do like digitals on a CD or DVD, how would you respond? And then how do you respond now that you're using sticky albums?
Okay, well, this has been the biggest fundamental problem that we've had and faced since digital images became digital images. I mean, negatives are no longer negatives.
Yep.
They're printable positives. And that's let's call a digital image a printable positive. Okay? It's the actual work product.
Yeah. So
controlling these things has been, a lot, like you were saying before, a lot of photographers get into the business early. They want, just any business, give them whatever they want.
Yep.
And what I really want to go on the record as saying is that by giving away these digital images, the disservice is to the industry and to people like us. I mean, to anybody who's actually doing this kind of work.
Yeah.
The digital image piece has to be, like, there's got to be a line in this thing.
Right.
And now, that's a high res if it can be printable up to 60 by 48 or whatever.
Yeah.
Say, they will not go and do it. They just want the thing. So when you, my hero, came up with sticky albums, my man, this became the one thing, like, it is just look how happy we are. It's like, oh, do you sell digital images? Well, we don't sell them, no. But when you buy stuff, when you buy an image, when you purchase your printer, even if I've had a person print a 2x3-inch image just so that image could be included in the sticky album, you know? So I'm like, hey man, you know, it's easy enough for you to screenshot your iPad, whatever, and print a 5x6. All day you can do that. That's fine with me because I know that you're really not going to do that. You have it on your phone, and when we show them, like I say, we show them this is what yours could be. It's okay, and I can share that with grandma. Yeah, you can do. Yeah, you send it to whoever you want, right? Yeah. Put it on Facebook. You know, mention us, don't mention us, whatever. 9 times out of 10, you know, the person that they're sharing it with wants to know how they got it. We get a phone call, you know, and it's been, how many hits do we get on that, man?
It was over 600 unique.
Unbelievable. Yeah. See, she was saying before, I mean, if the quality is good, you know, then, and it's free marketing what you're really.
That was just in a month. I think the album All Day has a lot more than that. But just in 1 month alone, you guys had 600 hits. That's huge.
Yeah, I mean, and really what people want, like what people are used to now, is Facebook images, smartphone images, you know, Pinterest, Shutterfly, whatever.
Yep.
And there's so much, you know, and people expect it, that when you give them the sticky album, they feel like it just kind of fit right into their, you know, they're used to it already. Like, oh, right. Thank you. It's an app? Are you kidding? It's an app? Like, yeah, it's an app, man. And you're like, well, done and done. Now how do I get them all? And you're like, well, yes, find images. And then it's like, fantastic.
You've thoroughly made my day. That's awesome. I was having a slow start to the day. Now I'm just on cloud 9. Thank you, buddy. I love hearing stories like that. That's so huge. That's exactly why I started Sticky Albums for my own high school senior business. And what I caught you guys said in the pre-work or the pre worksheet here is a lot of people do get nervous about digital, but one thing you guys touched on is that you don't when somebody orders a sticky album, your prints, you don't give a sticky album until after that's happened, correct?
Right.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So they only get the images that they purchased, right? The prints that they purchased. Those are the ones that go into the sticky album.
Right.
And so then after that, like so what? They do. You may get some people that will screenshot and they'll put it on Instagram or they'll crop out your logo, but it's all things said and done that they're talking about your work, and that's what really matters.
Exactly. So, like I said, and they're talking about us. They're sharing with their friends. They're enjoying the images.
Yep.
Again, every time they look at it, or every time they show somebody at a party, whatever. That serves their relationship with the images, which is their relationship with us. Right. So,
and it keeps it out of their, their picture area where people don't want to go through their pictures and be like, because people keep scrolling even past the picture you want to see.
Yeah.
So it keeps it safe from them seeing everything else that's on their camera.
Exactly. I saw a funny joke where somebody's like, here's look at this picture. Don't swipe forward or back. Just look at this picture.
But no one does that. I do it all the time too. It's just a habit.
It's like, what am I going to see? Yeah, and it's. I found that we're walking this really fine line as a culture, integrating these things into our life, right? In a lot of ways, we're doing a bad job. In other ways, I think we're working it out, right? We always get bad at it before we get good at it when it's dealing with any kind of technology. But when in a conversation, when these word of mouth referrals actually happen, you're at a dinner party, you're out to lunch, wherever you're at, if somebody picks this up and like in the middle of a conversation and goes, "Oh, I want to show you something." We've all been there where it's like, dude, it's been like 3 minutes, bro. Like, give it up, dude. Like, we'll talk about it later. Like
10,000 pictures.
Right.
It's like, oh no, it's here somewhere. It's here somewhere. Just give me 1 second. Oh, I gotta connect to the Wi-Fi. It's like, no, that disrupts the conversation. A referral is not going to happen in that moment. Somebody's going to do that once and then realize that it was too hard, and they're not going to do it next time. But one of the big things I stress with Sticky Albums is that it's offline, and it's on their home screen, so they can find it right away. And even if they have a shitty Wi-Fi, they're going to connect to it and it can happen during and a part of the conversation they're having. So kick ass. All right, let's see. You guys threw me out. I'm all excited just talking to you guys. There's something else. You guys are working on the underwater project. Is that part of that project that kind of fell apart and then came together? Is that what that is?
That started it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was an experiment, and it went so well that now it's definitely a fine art project, and it's of course, Dana concepted a whole, 12 different things that we're going to now incorporate in this. And so it's become like hey, let's do this for fun for this client. And now it's like, okay, all right. There's all this on my wall downstairs in my office where we just keep adding to this is what we're going to do when we do this. And it's like, all right, how are we going to budget for this thing? And like, now I've read that there's like this guy in LA who built this whole like aquarium that like constantly cleans itself all the time, so you can have like different makeups in there. It gets foggy, and then it cleans out right away because it's like, wow. There's all these logistics to do a fashion-y thing underwater.
Yeah, you got makeup, you got fabrics that are losing pieces of,
And the pool we rented, I was in the water all day, and I was freezing. It was like, all right, well, we need to solve that problem. Yeah. I had like a line around my face at the end because of constantly taking the mask out all day. I was like, that has to be, I have to figure that out. Yep.
It's so cool. It's so important to find projects like this that are just for you, that just fuel your own creative soul and help you guys stay excited about your work. And then there's no separation. It just sounds like your commercial work bleeds into your portrait work and your passion work. All of this stuff is just all supporting and making each one better and more enjoyable.
Yeah, it does.
Good for you guys. That sounds like a blast. I can't wait. Keep in touch. I want to know how that goes, because I think you reveal a good point. Is there's so much that goes into certain styled shoots, and especially projects like shooting underwater. It's not as simple as just getting a cheap underwater housing for your camera and jumping in a pool with somebody. There's just so much more to it.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome. Well, when you guys have that project wrapped, I definitely want to see what turns up. And let's go back. I think we skimmed over the. Let's go back to the actual printed piece. So while I love the kudos on My Day Is Made that Sticky Albums kicks ass for you guys, I'm the first person to say that there are no marketing silver bullets. Like, marketing has to be a constant thing we're always doing, touching all of our target market in as many ways as possible. And even though I sell a digital product, I still believe that print stuff will never go away completely. People love touching really awesome paper and seeing really amazing imagery on a really nice, well-printed thing. So when you guys, you had the help from somebody in the business, a good friend at Google. I wish I had a marketing friend at Google. That's awesome. Tell me about like your process of saying, okay, this is a risk. We're just going to give it a shot. Like, what were you expecting to get? What kind of ROI were you hoping? How much you invest in the project? Tell me some of the number side there.
We probably invested, the printed piece itself cost probably $10,000. Paper and.
Does that include, like, did you guys also do direct mail stuff as well?
Not all of it.
Okay.
Some of it we mailed out to our clients.
Yep.
And we put in there a certificate.
Yep.
I keep using the word gift card. So it's a certificate for all of our clients that we've had before that have had collections put up. Their next shoot is free.
Yeah.
But what we're trying to do is get new clients, so we give a certificate for them to give to a friend. So that was included in the piece.
Right.
So that got us another person from that, and then.
And just to piggyback that, and if they call us and say, I gave that away to my friend, I have another friend, then we just say, have her call us and use your name. And that, they know what to expect. Our customers who know what to expect from us, that's who we like marketing for us.
Yes.
They deliver that.
Totally.
Like we say that Dane and Spencer are great. They are expensive and they're great. We want them to kind of have that coming in. That doesn't hurt us,
Absolutely. Yeah.
A lot of time goes into the process of it, which, we're not a snap and shoot type You don't just come in, you get your picture, snap, shoot, and then here you go. So there's a lot of time where I'm talking with the mom or even the dad sometimes, coming up with an idea of how they want this. And then they, I'll get clothes with them, they snap on the bed, and I'll say, pull this out, pull that in, no, get a new thing for that. So you're talking a lot with them before even shooting. Yeah. So yeah, we don't want someone who just wants a couple images. We have a minimum package you have to get before you go a la carte, So we keep it so, again, our marketing person kind of looked over our business and she went over like, this is what it really needs to be in order to, you're not a hobby, this is, you love your art, but you're not a starving artist. So you need to make it work. And so she kind of went through everything and then it became more clear to us about the whole process of how that needs to go down. So,
so you put over a rough estimate around 10 grand into this marketing effort. Mm-hmm. So that's a big deal. Like, what was your expectation? Did you hope to make half of that back, all of that back, double your invest? Like, what was your realistic expectation when you started that project?
Oh, well,
we made it all of it back.
What is it, realistic or hopeful? I mean, hope turned into reality.
Yeah.
Well, we hope this is going to make us money.
Right, of course.
And it has. Thank goodness.
Bunch over. I mean, it turned out to be a huge success. But what I'm trying to pull apart is people who are afraid to do this, because there's a lot of people out there. There's a couple things that I'm glad you guys are letting us see your example at number one, because it's tricky. Like, there's going to be somebody who's just starting, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend to somebody who's early on starting to risk 10 grand, because there's a lot of things here. You guys have a brand. You've got a network of people you're sending it to already. There's all of these things that are really worthwhile.
And a body of work to pick our best from.
Exactly. So there's a lot that went into it.
Do a smaller piece. You can do a mailer.
Right.
It doesn't have to be in an envelope with it doesn't have to get all fancy. And I think that's a great way to start and see what it brings back in. You can do those for, what is that, like postcard.com, I think we'll do. Postcard or post something, but it's one of those digital. There's different ways to go about it.
Absolutely.
Now the other thing I will touch on is like doing like a Facebook ad or a pay per click type of Google SEO type stuff. We have done our search engine optimization. We had that hopefully. I mean we stopped paying attention to that a long time ago because.
It's just working. Other stuff's
the
already
ROI wasn't good on that. We were getting a lot of wasted time when people call us who weren't really calling for us. They were calling for a photographer that they want something different. So we found out that like general marketing, not really for us. Target, like really focused targeting, that's really what.
Absolutely. And I think it's early on, it's so important to build up a client base. And then I think a lot of people struggle with, they get their first couple years in the business and then they want to raise their rates. And so it's scary because while you really want to rely on your referral network, if you're only charging a couple $100 to your last year's clients and you want to start charging $1,000, that network might not be the right network to push out to, right? So there's all of these growing pains that happen, but there's a couple key things that I think you guys I want to pull apart for people. Is one, just having a realistic expectation about the return on it, and I think it exceeded your expectations. And when you executed on it, you use really good paper, like a way to like stand out, so it's not just something else that comes in the mail. Mm-hmm. And I think the biggest thing is leveraging your existing client base, you're just giving them a better tool. So out of all the things I talk about, I think in general, the best marketing lesson I've ever learned is you want your clients talking about you in a positive way, obviously. And your job is to do everything you can to make it easier for them to talk about you and make them excited to talk about you. And that this certificate, what an awesome distinction, not a gift card, but a certificate. And not only do people love sharing a good reference, like they love people, I'm sure your clients love talking about your guys' stuff in and of itself. Just connecting their close friends to you guys is, they get a kick out of. And now they've got like an awesome certificate to give too. It just fuels that even further. And the process of doing it and the way you're doing it, those people coming in already know what to expect to a good degree. They know what they're walking into. Awesome stuff, you guys. Is there anything else? What questions didn't I ask? Well, how else can I help you guys?
I'm good.
I don't know.
We're good.
I just want to go again on record as saying that Sticky Albums, dude. I would like to reach through and kiss you on the face because you know.
It really did solve a humongous.
I mean, it's been the source of such frustration
that I get all the time. It really has helped in
Yeah.
that way.
That's
It's
awesome.
it's a great solution to this digital image.
And it's saving until the end. It's like, yep, you can. Because I think what you guys are doing, I've told this in the past, is just when somebody asks for the digital, it's just to ask why, understand why, and say, actually, we don't do this, but this is what you get. And I've heard the same sentiment echoed over and again. We're like, oh, well, I can put it on my phone and I can share it. Well, that's what I wanted to do. I didn't know.
Right.
People didn't know there's a thing out there that does this. And now,
Precisely.
yeah. You guys
They ask for digital images, and you think they're asking, as photographers, so that they can steal your work or print it.
Right.
So that's
Right.
really not what they want it for.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
already know that there's a service we have, which is putting something up in their space, and
Yep.
and they want that,
Yeah.
But so it's a good solution to the issue.
Well, I'm thrilled. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much for your time. Let's stay in touch. You guys are up to awesome things. Are you going to imaging or WPPI at all this year?
I don't think so. Not this year.
Not this year. No worries. All right. Well, if I remember coming through Chicago, I'm going to look you guys up and just come hang out because you guys are a blast. You guys are a blast to hang out with on Skype.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You guys have an awesome rest of the day.